Here we have an example of how to solve an equation that has polynomial expressions. For most of these problems, what you'll notice is any squared terms are going to end up dropping out because that will be our next chapter on how to solve polynomial equations. This is just setting up the idea that we can work with those and we shouldn't be afraid of seeing a squared term in an equation. And so for this first example, it says 3x times the quantity 2x plus 5 is equal to 2x plus 3 times 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. Just like we did in the previous examples, you're going to want to distribute. And so when we distribute here, 3 times 2 would give us our 6. Xx would be x squared. 3 times 5 would be positive 15. And the x comes along for the ride. On this side, I thought I'd throw just a 2x in there, maybe to mess us up a little bit. Because it's not connected through the parentheses, we don't have to distribute it, it just comes straight down. What we are concerned about is distributing the 3 across this polynomial. And so we would say 3 times 2 is plus 6x squared. 3 times 3 would be plus 9, the x comes straight down. And finally 3 times negative 5 would be minus 15. Before we move on, we want to combine like terms on either side of the equation. So when I'm looking on the left-hand side, I notice that it's x squared and an x. Those are different terms. I have to leave them alone. However, as I look at the right-hand side, I do have some like terms here with the 2x and the 9x. They are the same label, and so I could write this as 6x squared plus 11x, because the 2x plus the 9x, minus 15. And now typically what you do, when you see that you have the like x squared terms, you're going to want to get those all to the same side. And so as soon as I try to move one of these, notice what happens. I'll have this 15x equaling 6x squared plus 11x minus 15, and this 6x squared comes over to the right hand side as a negative 6x squared, meaning that the x squared terms drop out. Now for tonight's homework, you're going to see that a lot because these have to drop out in this chapter because we don't know how to actually work with those and solve them if they remain in the equation. And so when that drops out, we get what we're used to seeing, what we've been working with for months. 15x is equal to 11x minus 15. And then when you get to something like that, of course, we know we want to get the x's to one side and the number to the other side. In this case, I'm going to move the 11x over to the left. And so I have 15x take away 11x equaling negative 15. And so 15x take away 11x is going to be 4x equaling negative 15. Divide by 4, both sides. X would be negative 3 and 3/4. And there is how you solve an equation that has squared components in them. We will only see one variable at a time, so that's not really anything that we have to worry about. It should be very simple. It's just a review of how to solve equations.